August 11, 4 o'clock. If you would all, or as I were, if you would all stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Ms. Falk, would you do the roll call, please?
Mr. Pizzicelli, Ms. Avery, Mr. Hetty.
Here.
Mr. Moylan, Mr. Croteau, Mrs. Chandler. Here. Chairman Day.
Here. We're on number 3, approval of the minutes, June 30, 2014. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Brian?
And the second is to,
Approve the minutes for June 30, 2014.
okay, I'll second for discussion.
Thank you. Under discussion, go ahead, Mr. Hetty.
Yeah, I looked at the minutes, and there's this is the June 30th meeting.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and a couple of things. In the first copy of the minutes, I was marked down as an unexcused absence, and Tammy has since changed that. I know that I talked to Tammy about a vacation, because Tammy and I have had this vacation probably 10, 15 times, because I do the same thing on the first week of July. But, you know, one of the things that I remember is things that are important to me, and things that I don't remember are whatever. I know that I had a conversation with Tammy. I know Tammy's memory is pretty good, and she didn't recall a conversation in which I said that vacation was going to interfere with a meeting. She knew that I talked to her about the vacation, but she didn't. So in line with, I remember things that are important to me, I can tell you what would be important to Tammy is she'd remember whether or not in that conversation I did or did not clearly identify that it was going to bother. Anyway, so I just put it out there. I don't care one way or the other. It doesn't make any difference to me, because I don't miss meetings. So it doesn't make any difference whether it's excused or not. But I just wanted to say that.
So what's the pleasure?
Mr. Hetty, I'm sure that you had spoke to me about it, so we have changed the minutes to reflect that you had an excused absence.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then I looked at the meetings, the minutes for the meeting before, and the June 4th meeting, and at the end of the minutes, these were approved at the last meeting. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the meeting, minutes, it says number 7, presentations. Brian Hetty to give a slide presentation, and it was postponed until the next meeting. That's not what happened. What happened was you called for an adjournment before you ever got to my presentation, and the motion to adjourn was approved. After the motion to adjourn was approved, Mr. Degg, you said, "Oh, Brian, you have a presentation," as if it was a surprise to you. And I just kind of threw my hands up, because at that point, you'd already made your decision prior to having my presentation. And I think that it's important that those minutes reflect that.
Okay, we'll go back and take a look at the June 4th,
So,
number 7. Thank you.
That's my comments on the minutes.
Thank you very much.
Call the
And
question.
I'll call the question to approve the minutes. Ms. Falk, call the roll.
Mr. Hetty?
and with the changes. So I guess that's a no then. Make
With
it
your
easy.
change on the, your absence was excused, the June 4th, number 7, we'll look into.
Okay, so then I'll say no until the minutes reflect. So you got 2 yeses and
Okay,
1
so
no,
we
it
will
passes.
bring this back. It will take a quorum.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Chandler, how do you vote? Yes?
I vote in favor of approving the minutes.
And so do I, thank you. It carries 2-1, thank you very much. We'll move into, we're on number 4 now, the public comment and presentation part. First on our list is number A, Mr. Jim O'Connor, our city manager is here, and Mr. Monty Falls, our public works director is here. And if you would please step up, sirs, and give us your report. We also have in the audience here with us today, Mr. Phil Mattson, if he would care to help us out also. Thank you very much. He's our MPO director. Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Daigle, Mr. Chairman, we really don't have much of a report. As you know, Monty did walk the area of the crossings and looked at those. There was discussion from the representatives about closing of 20th and also 14th. We have looked into that and found that that has to be a request by the local government, i.e. the city, or in the cases in the unincorporated areas through the county. So that would not be applicable unless, of course, there's some unbelievable safety issue that is of a concern, but we have records that show that there has been nothing to indicate that there was any type of safety hazard at those areas.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Falls.
I have nothing to add. You've got in your backup
Yes.
the notes from the meeting, and it's just the technical notes of what was going to be done at each intersection. I think Mr. O'Connor touched on the most striking thing that stood out was the recommendations for the closures, and those, again, are at the discretion of the City Council.
All right, thank you. And we'll go through the staff first. Mr. Phil Mattson.
Hi, Phil Mattson, Indian River County MPO. I want to thank the members of the committee for their continued service on this committee. It's an important issue, and it's good to keep an eye on, so thank you. Basically, this procedure that was gone through the city was gone through at all 32 crossings in the county. It was a team put together. It had county staff on it, had the county's consultant who's going to be taking a look at the environmental statement and the crossings too. I was included in this team as well. It was a very technical and less than scintillating process for most of the crossings. We took a look at where things were mounted in a way that they should be remounted, where things should be moved between a few feet and perhaps all the way across the street and into a median. We took a look at extensions of existing infrastructure, the state of infrastructure, things like that. It was mostly a technical diagnosis from the technical team members. I really don't have anything to add to Monty's report, save for that the process that you saw where they went intersection by intersection and crossing by crossing was replicated at all 32. I don't think there are going to be any recommended closings at the county area, but it's really too soon to tell. The official diagnostic crossing report hasn't come out yet. So we'll take a look at it, and when we get more information, I think we'll definitely be able to respond at that point.
All right. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
And Mr. Falls, I have a question for you, please. In your overview of the report that you gave, the backup material, the last paragraph, could you go over, could you read the paragraph, and I'd like to explain to us the sealed corridor that you have in quotes?
It says, it is our understanding that all aboard Florida will pay for all the physical improvements associated with the sealed corridor. However, any application for quiet zone designation, as well as an ongoing maintenance of the improvements, will be the responsibility of the local governing agency. And as I understand it, and folks here with All Aboard Florida can step in if I say anything that's not correct, but the sealed corridor would be the safety improvements that were needed to provide all the things that would be necessary physically to meet the quiet zone standards.
Okay, and that's at, when they say sealed corridor, that's at the crossing. That has nothing to do beyond the crossings. That's at the crossings.
That's dealing with
All
the
right, because
crossing.
that some of the people have out there and the questions on that. The next thing I want to ask you on, the maintenance improvements is the responsibility of the local governing agency. In the event that the City of Vero Beach would like to request a quiet zone, when do they have to do it as a city? What's the time frame on that? Because it's the city that has to put the request in if they want to.
Well, that to me would be if you wanted to make the decision to do that concurrent with the construction, but the physical construction, as I understand it, that would be necessary for the sealed corridor will be done when the railroad project moves forward.
Mm-hmm.
The application for a quiet zone is an application that would be made. It could be made concurrent, it could be made later, but it's just that then the gathering of data that has to be sent in for that request, but it would show that those physical improvements were already constructed.
And my follow-up question, as a head staff member for this, as this process is rolling on out, you would know when to approach the city council to see if they want to put in for a quiet zone to make sure that they meet the time frames, and it's up to the city council whether they want to or not.
That would be something that in concert with the city manager, we would make that recommendation
And
one way or the other.
I see the city manager, he's nodding his head. He's concurring with that?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. We are a little hesitant administratively to go to the city council till we have a handle
Understood.
on the cost. But yes, we somewhere in the process, if we want to have quiet zones, we would take that request to the city council. And a lot of it is, as Monty just said, a lot of it's going to be contingent upon if they put in all the physical barriers in order to qualify, then it may be just an application issue.
And where I'm going with this point is you, the head staff person, the head city, the manager of the city, you would know when it's time to approach the council because you would everything would be in order up to that point. So you folks would come in and it's at their pleasure.
Yes, sir. I would make that determination.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Falls, anything else?